Every second, millions of financial transactions take place around the world. Someone buys a coffee. A company pays its employees. A government issues new debt. An investor purchases shares. A bank approves a loan. From the outside, these events appear unrelated, independent, random. But beneath every transaction, there is an invisible architecture connecting them all. Money rarely moves because people need it. Money moves because systems allow it to move. Every payment follows a network. Every loan follows a policy. Every investment follows incentives. Every market follows liquidity. And every economy follows the architecture designed beneath it. Most people spend their lives chasing money. Very few stop to ask, what is money actually chasing? Because money has a destination long before it reaches your wallet. It follows the paths that systems create, and whoever designs those paths quietly shapes the future of wealth.
Most people think money is value. History suggests something different. Money is information. It tells the economy where resources should move. It tells businesses what customers want. It tells investors where opportunity exists. It tells governments where productivity is growing. Without money, modern civilization loses its ability to coordinate billions of independent decisions. This is why every civilization eventually creates a financial system, not simply to store wealth, but to organize human cooperation at an unimaginable scale. Money becomes the language, banks become translators, markets become communication networks, and capital becomes the message constantly moving through the system. The question is no longer how much money exists. The real question becomes, who designed the language that everyone else is speaking?
Most people believe banks simply lend the money that other people save. It sounds logical. It feels intuitive. But modern finance operates very differently. In today's economy, most money begins its existence the moment new credit is created. When a productive loan is approved, new purchasing power enters the economy. Businesses expand, factories are built, employees are hired, innovation accelerates. Money is no longer just something being transferred, it is something constantly being created, circulated, and eventually destroyed as debt is repaid. This is why the financial system behaves like a living organism. It expands, it contracts, it adapts. Every economy depends not only on how much money exists, but on where new money enters first. Because the first destination of new capital often determines who benefits the most.
Imagine pouring water into the top of a mountain. The water does not spread equally. It follows channels. Gravity decides its direction. Capital behaves in much the same way. It follows financial architecture. Every interest rate, every lending policy, every investment fund, every venture capital firm creates another channel through which money can flow. Some channels are wide, others are narrow. Some receive enormous amounts of capital, others receive almost none. This is why industries rarely grow at the same speed. Technology attracts capital differently than agriculture. Infrastructure attracts capital differently than retail. Artificial intelligence attracts capital differently than traditional manufacturing. Money is constantly searching for systems capable of multiplying itself. Capital rewards architecture before it rewards effort. And understanding those invisible channels explains why entire industries can rise within a decade, while others quietly fade into history.
Money alone does not create extraordinary wealth. Leverage does. Leverage allows one resource to produce many outcomes. One machine replaces hundreds of repetitive tasks. One software platform serves millions of customers. One intelligent algorithm improves millions of decisions. One infrastructure investment supports generations of economic activity. The wealthiest organizations understand this principle deeply. They rarely ask, how can we earn more money? Instead, they ask, how can every dollar create even greater value tomorrow? That single question changes everything. It transforms spending into investment, investment into infrastructure, infrastructure into scalable systems, and scalable systems into compounding wealth. This is why the modern economy increasingly rewards architects rather than operators. Because leverage is not found in working harder. It is found in designing systems that continue creating value long after the original work has been completed.
Throughout history, wealth has continuously changed its form. Land created kingdoms. Factories created industrial giants. Oil created energy empires. Today, systems create wealth. The world's most valuable organizations rarely own every asset they depend on. Instead, they own the architecture that allows millions of assets to work together. Banks connect borrowers and lenders. Payment networks connect buyers and sellers. Cloud platforms connect developers and businesses. Artificial intelligence connects data with decisions. Every successful system creates another layer of dependency. The more people rely on it, the more valuable the architecture becomes. This is why modern wealth is becoming increasingly invisible. It no longer sits inside vaults. It flows through networks. And the greatest fortunes belong to those who own the systems through which everyone else must operate. Because leverage is not found in working harder. It is found in designing systems that continue creating value long after the original work has been completed.
The greatest investments rarely produce immediate rewards. They build foundations. A bridge creates new trade routes. A fiber optic cable creates new digital markets. A data center enables millions of artificial intelligence requests every minute. A semiconductor factory powers technologies that have not yet been invented. Money reaches its highest purpose when it stops behaving like currency and starts behaving like infrastructure. Infrastructure continues producing value year after year, decade after decade. This is why civilizations invest beyond the present. They build systems that future generations will inherit. The same principle applies to businesses. The strongest companies invest less in short-term transactions and more in long-term architectures, because infrastructure compounds, and compounding quietly becomes one of the most powerful forces in wealth creation.
Money is evolving, not because paper is disappearing, but because systems are becoming intelligent. Artificial intelligence is beginning to optimize financial decisions. Algorithms detect risk faster than humans. Autonomous software negotiates transactions. Digital infrastructure connects billions of payments every day. The next generation of finance will become increasingly invisible. Payments will happen automatically. Contracts will execute automatically. Businesses will coordinate automatically. Entire economic ecosystems will increasingly operate without constant human intervention. The future of money is not simply digital. It is architectural. It is programmable. It is autonomous. And once money becomes part of an intelligent system, the question is no longer who owns the currency. The question becomes, who owns the architecture through which every transaction must pass?
Money has never been the beginning of wealth. It has always been the result of architecture. Behind every successful company, there is a system. Behind every resilient economy, there is infrastructure. Behind every global currency, there is trust. Behind every technological revolution, there is capital. And behind every movement of capital, there is an architecture quietly directing where value will be created next. This is why chasing money often leads nowhere. Money is constantly moving, constantly searching, constantly reorganizing itself around systems capable of creating greater value. Those who focus only on income see transactions. Those who focus on investments see opportunities. But those who understand architecture see the invisible pathways through which wealth continuously flows. Because wealth does not simply accumulate, it circulates. And every cycle leaves clues for those willing to look beneath the surface.
Most people ask, how can I make more money? Architects ask a different question. Where does money naturally want to flow? That single question changes everything. It shifts attention away from short-term rewards toward long-term systems, away from isolated transactions toward interconnected architectures, away from temporary success toward sustainable leverage. Money will always change its form, from coins to paper, from paper to digital transactions, from digital transactions to intelligent autonomous networks. But one principle remains unchanged. Money follows trust. Trust follows systems. Systems follow architecture. Those who understand this sequence no longer spend their lives chasing wealth. They begin designing environments where wealth can emerge naturally. Because the greatest fortunes are rarely built by following money. They are built by understanding the architecture that guides it.
Every financial system tells a story, not only about money, but about architecture. The visible economy is built through transactions. The invisible economy is built through systems. When you understand how systems move capital, you begin to understand how civilizations create wealth. And once you see the architecture, it becomes impossible to see the world the same way again. This is the perspective of Asutsen, not simply to explain the future, but to understand how the future is designed. Welcome to Asutsen, architecting wealth, automating future.